Okay. So guys, number 4 is where we're starting. By the way, for those of you who's in the Tuesday group, we left off with number 3 from yesterday. So we're starting off with number 4 right here, guys. We are reviewing for the Algebra and EOC. We're going to be doing some review problems, okay? And so here, number 4 is one of those questions that is asking us to solve for an inequality. Guys, remember, when you're solving the inequalities, you solve them just like you would solve an equation using the same properties, you know, the addition property of equality, multiplication property of equality, and so forth and so on, okay? So use the same properties for solving an inequality. So guys, just remember there's various ways for you to express the answer to an inequality. So I'll show you a couple ways you can express the answer to an inequality, guys. So in this one right here, we're going to start off on the left side, guys, by combining the B terms, the like terms together. So here, the like terms would be on the left side, the 4B minus the 5B. Now listen, guys, here's something that helps, okay? If you're having a really tough time with this and you cannot see how to combine them together, take away, cover up, okay? If you want paper, you can just cover up this term right there so you can see, what am I doing? I am doing 4B take away 5B, okay? That's called covering it up. Now, if you are online, obviously, you know, I'm using my pen to cover up the negative 12, but guys, it's the same thing. 4B take away 5B leaves you with a negative B. Bring down the minus 12, bring down everything else, guys, including what's on the right. Bring them down. Now, normally, guys, because you like to read, you read from left to right. There are countries where people read from left to right. There are countries where people read vertically. And so because we are left justified individuals, okay, we go from left to right. We like seeing our variable on the left side when we're done with the problem, on the left side, okay? So I want my variable to end up on the left side, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead, by the way, it doesn't matter which side your variable is on, it doesn't matter, okay? So I'm gonna subtract the 9B from both sides. I'm gonna subtract 9B from both sides, okay? So I get, now, remember that B here, guys, that seems like it doesn't have a variable in front of it. There is a variable there. It doesn't have a coefficient in front of it. There is a coefficient, guys. The coefficient is 1. So now you can go ahead and combine them. Negative 1B minus 9B is negative 10B, okay? This cancels out over here. Bring down the negative 12, bring down the 18, all right? Let me see, is this a question I have on here? My sister coming to pick me up right now, so I have to leave. Have a great day. Bye. Cheers, JD. Okay, JD, have a good one, sweetie pie. Brendan, I guess it's just me and you, sweetie pie. So we'll make it short, Brendan. We won't keep the session going that long, okay? So here we are, Brendan. When we add these two together, we get 30. Now, on this one right here, Brendan, I am going to divide both sides by negative 10. Do you know what happens when you divide by that negative? Does it affect anything else by dividing by the negative 10? You can turn on your mic and talk to me. No? You okay, Brendan? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You just cut out for a second.
Okay. The question is, when I divide by that negative 10 on both sides, is that going to affect any other part of the problem besides the numbers? No? You don't remember that part? Okay. So here's the rule, Brendan. In mathematics classes, when we're dealing with the inequalities, whenever you divide or multiply by a negative, whenever you divide or multiply by a negative when solving an inequality, you have to reverse the inequality symbol. So here, the inequality symbol was less than, so you're gonna reverse it, okay? flip it, switch it, however you want to see it. So rather than less than, it's going to become greater than, okay? So this one right here will end up being B is greater than positive 3. This would be your answer. Now, additionally, when you're solving these problems, there's various ways for you to express the answer, okay? So this is the inequality answer. You can also do it in set notation. If you're going to do it in set notation, Brendan, this is what it's going to look like. The set of B values such that, and then you write in your inequality, B is greater than 3. So this would be your set notation for this problem. And then last but not least, they might ask you to graph this. If they ask you to graph it, you go on the number line, okay? I like plotting 0 on here to separate the positive and the negative side. I'm gonna plot the boundary number, which is 3. Now, because of the inequality symbol, it says this, guys. If it's greater than, less than, use an open dot, okay? Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, you're going to use a shaded dot, okay? So for this one right here, because it's just greater than, we're going to use an open dot, and we got to show every single B value, every value that's greater than 3, that's everything to the right of 3, okay? Everything to the right of 3. So guys, this is how the graph would look like right here, okay, on the number line. So you're starting right here at positive 3, which is not included, it's excluded. So we would call this an open interval, and then everything to the right of positive 3, an open interval. All right, do you remember these type of problems, Brendan? Yeah? Are you paying attention, Brendan?
Yes.
Okay. You remember these type of problems from your earlier on in the year?
Yeah. Sometimes I forget some things. It's all.
Okay. I gotcha. All right. So let's move on to number 5 here, Brendan. For number 5, you notice that there's a whole bunch of fractions in there. Actually, there's 2 fractions, okay? So most students prefer not to work with fractions. So since students prefer not to work with fractions, the first step in completing this problem is to go ahead and eliminate the fractions out, okay? This one is an easy case in that the denominators are the same. But normally I would tell you to find the LCD, the lowest common denominator. In this case, since the denominators are the same for both fractions, the LCD is going to be 4. And then you want to multiply every single term of the problem by 4. So every term multiplied by 4. Every term multiplied by 4. Every term multiplied by 4. Ooh, I left out my X there, Shazam. Okay, let's make sure that X is inside the parentheses, okay? Every term, I'm going to multiply it by 4. Every term gets multiplied by 4. Why am I multiplying by 4? To eliminate the fractions, because people don't like working with fractions, okay? So here, guys, let me use a different color here. I'm going to show you what happens, okay? For the first one, the fraction cancels out because the 4's get canceled out, leaving you with 3x. 4 times 2 is 8. Over here, the 4's cancel out, leaving you with 5x. And then 6 times 4 is 24. And there you go. Since it really doesn't matter where your variable ends up, whether it's on the left or the right side, I am going to go ahead and subtract the 3x from both sides, because my goal here is to go ahead and isolate the variable on one side. So now I'm going to add 24 to both sides, okay? Add 24 to both sides. So then I get a total of 32, okay? I'm running out of room here, is equal to 2x, okay? 32 equals to 2x because this cancels out. Now, Brendan, I'm going to get you to participate soon. Just hang on. Let's finish up this one right here. And then the last step, Brendan, I forgot this one was multiple choice, Brendan. I could have asked you to participate earlier. So this one gives you 16, x equals to 16. Okay, now, worst case scenario, Brendan, if you get stuck on a problem like this, and it's multiple choice, you don't know what to do, take the answer choices one at a time, plug them into the equation for every x variable, and then work it out until you find the one that makes the problem true. Okay, so what I like to say is this: plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. Okay, so you plug it in the first time, plug it in the second time, the third time. Find the one that makes the problem true. Whichever one makes the problem true, that's the answer. Okay, so on a multiple choice question, it's usually, okay, easier for you to end up with the correct answer because you have the choices right there. Okay, so Brandon, it's your turn to participate. Okay, now we're talking about the formulas, and this one gives you the formula to calculate the future value, where you have the principal plus the interest rate, and the interest to calculate it is PRT, which could be used to find T if the amount, principal, and interest are known. So they want you to take this problem right here, Brendan, and they want you to solve it for T. Get the T isolated, get the T by itself. Okay, Brendan?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we're going to do is use inverse operations. Okay, we're going to use inverse operation. So we want to take everything from the left side, I mean the right side, and move it over to the left side, except T. We want the T to remain there. Okay, so Brendan, listen to this part right here, okay? And just pay careful attention. We're just using good old-fashioned common sense. The P is a positive P. It's adding P. We have to use inverses. What's the inverse of addition, Brenda?
The inverse of addition would be subtraction.
Right, okay? So if you look at the answer choices, which one doesn't have minus
D.
Okay, yes, so you get rid of that. Very good, Brendan. Okay, so if we take the P and we move it over, it's going to become A minus P, and this will equal to P times R times T. Now, since the P and the R, they're multiplying T, we need
You would look for division of them.
Exactly. Brendan, you're good with this. Shazam, okay? You're really good with this. So you would divide by the PR, and which one says that?
It would be B and C.
Okay. Now, B and C, you're right. But if you look at your answer, once you divide by the PR, you notice the PR is in the denominator. So which one would be the answer?
It would be B.
Yes. Okay. So by knowing which ones to eliminate, okay, it makes it easier for you to come up with the correct answer. And sometimes, Brendan, let me give you a little secret here. You don't even have to finish up the entire problem in order to figure out the answer. Okay. All right. So here's another one, guys. Brendan, this is another formula problem. It says that a line is represented by this equation. What is another way to represent the same line? Do you see how all the answer choices are in the form of y equals to? So for this problem, Brendan, they want you to solve for y. They want you to get the y by itself. They want you to isolate y. Remember, inverse, okay? We got to do the inverse, okay? The 3x is adding. So what are we going to do with the 3x? If we want to do the inverse of it, what are we going to do with it? It's adding on the left side. So what are we going to do with it if we want to do the inverse of addition?
You would do subtraction.
Right. So which one doesn't have subtraction of 3x or minus 3x? Which one doesn't have it?
It would be B and C.
Exactly, Brendan. There you go. Okay. So if we subtract the 3x from both sides, this is what we'd end up with, okay? So now we want to isolate y. The 2 is preventing us from isolating the y. So what are we going to do with the 2?
You would do the inverse of
Which
2
is?
multiplied by y. Division.
Not multiplied by y. We want to keep the y where it's at. We want to get rid of the 2. So what are we going to do with the 2?
You would subtract the 2 from y.
Well, the 2 is multiplying y. What's the inverse of multiplication?
Division.
Yes, okay. So then you would take the 2 and divide both sides, or every single term, by 2. Every single term. To get y equals to -3 over 2x, and then plus 2. And there you are. Okay?
All right.
So basically, Sugar Plum, you can eyeball these, okay, and not do too much work and still figure out the answer, okay? Now, just be careful when you're doing these problems, read them carefully, like this next one. They give you the formula. The value of m in terms of a, k, and x can be expressed at. So for this one right here, you got to know which variable do they want you to solve for. If you don't know, look at the answer choices. All of the answer choices are in the form of m equals to something. Okay, so Brandon, based on the previous 2 problems we just did earlier, we're trying to solve for m, okay? We're trying to get the m by itself, Brandon, okay? Now, this one is a little harder, okay? Since we're trying to solve for m, and what do you notice? There's 2 m's in this problem. There's 2 m's in this problem, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to find a way to consolidate those 2 m's into a single m. So I'm gonna help you out just a little bit with this one. So on the right side, since we have 2 m's, we're going to do reverse multiplication. And reverse multiplication, or the inverse of multiplication, is division. So we have an m in this term right here, an m in this term over here. So what we're going to do is to take the m out of each term. That is called factoring, sweetie pie. We're going to factor out the GCF, and the GCF in this case is m. So if we take out the m from this term, that leaves us with a. If we take out the m from this term, that leaves us with 3x.
3.
Mm-hmm. So now, Brendan, let me see if you can finish this out. I want to get the m by itself, okay? I want to isolate m. So look at the answer choices, Brendan. Which one do you think is going to be the correct answer? If I want to get the m by itself. Take it.
Sorry. You would just start doing or just go a plus 3x,
Mm-hmm.
which would equal 3 ax.
Okay. I think you're going a little too far, Brendan.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Because this one is simply asking you to get the m isolated. You want to get the m by itself. So what do you need to get rid of to get the m by itself?
You need to get rid of the a plus 3x.
That's correct. The a plus 3x is doing what to m? What operation is a plus 3x doing to m? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? The entire parentheses. What is it doing with the m? Is it multiplying? Is it dividing? Is it adding? Is it subtracting?
And can you please repeat that for a second?
Okay. The way the problem is written right now, what kind of operation do you see on the right side? What is the parentheses doing to the m? Is it multiplying it? Is it adding it, subtracting it, or dividing?
It's multiplying it.
Okay, so now remember inverses. So what are you going to do?
Gonna divide it.
Right. Okay, so which one would be the correct answer?
It would be a plus. No.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Sorry.
I have one somewhere here. He's running around here somewhere. Okay, so that's your answer, Brendan. So keep thinking about inverse operations, Brendan, and that's how you get through these formula problems, all right? Keep thinking about inverse operations. So this one is A. All right, so now let me see. I've got a couple more just a few more to go. Okay, yeah, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go to number 4, Brendan. Oh, let me see. Which one are we solving for in this one? We're solving for K. All right, Brendan, you ready? For a formula is expressed as D equals to A times the quantity 2 plus KT. Express K in terms of DAT, okay? So for this one, they want you to solve for K. Now, Brendan, okay, first thing, okay, remember, use inverse operations, good old common sense, good old fashioned common sense, okay? Can you look at these and tell me if you can eliminate any of them? Are you able to do that? No? Okay, let's go to, go ahead.
I'm sorry. That would be the ones you would get rid of would be A and B.
Very good, Brendan. Excellent, man. Wow, you're doing fabulous. Okay, very good. So now that leaves you with either C or D, and then you can choose your answer from there. By the way, by eliminating those two, it increases your chances of getting this problem right. So the first thing to do with this one is to distribute the A, and so you're left with 2A plus A times K times T. Now, remember, we're trying to solve for K. We want to get the K by itself. Now, I'm sure you notice, oh, this is a plus 2A. I'm going to have to subtract it. So you're going to get D minus 2A is equal to A times K times T. And your goal is to get the K by itself. So if we want to get the K by itself, we have to get rid of the AT. What are we going to do with the AT? You want to get K isolated. You want to get it by itself. So what do we do with the AT?
The AT, you want to find a way to separate them from the K.
Well, good point. You can rewrite this actually because it's all multiplication. You can rewrite this as AT times K. Okay, that's still the same thing. So what do we do with the AT?
With the AT, you would. Sorry.
That's okay.
The AT, you would want to try and find. You would want to find the closest. You would want. Sorry.
Okay, quick question. Since you
Confusing.
have C and D left over, which one would you go with? Which one would you select as the correct answer, C or D?
I would go with C.
Yes, that is correct, okay? And so on this one right here, to get rid of the AT, since it's multiplying the K, you divide, you do the inverse, okay? You divide, that's all we're doing, just the inverse, okay? So remember, inverse operations. All right, so I think this is going to be our last problem for today, man, okay? Number 5. Tim was asked to solve the equation for X. His solution is below. Step 1, Kx equals to My minus Mx. And he's trying to solve for X. He's trying to isolate the X, okay? And remember, we've done some problems similar to this one, okay? So he took the minus Mx, okay? Remember inverse operation, and he moved over the Mx, so it became a positive Mx. So a minus became a positive, okay? A minus became a plus. So that's good, okay? Now, the next step, you see how this term has an X, the second term also has an X. He took out the X, and that leaves us with the K inside the parentheses, the M inside the parentheses, okay? And so now we want to go ahead and solve this, finish solving it out. I'm trying to see, where did he make his mistake? This was solved for the equation for X. His solution is shown below. In which step did Tim make a mistake? Okay.
Wouldn't it be step two? Wouldn't it be step two?
Well, step 2 looks fine. I mean, all he's doing is factoring out. You see how he has kx in step 1, kx plus mx. If you notice, there's an x in each term. So if he takes out the x from here, that leaves him with k. If he takes it out from here, that leaves him with m. So that's fine.
All right. All right.
Mm-hmm. So do you see any mistakes? Now remember,
It would. Sorry.
I'm listening.
It would be. It would. It's either step 3 or there is none. Sorry.
That's okay. Which one are you leaning to more?
I'm leaning towards C.
Okay. So for step 3, let's
Sorry.
look at step 2. He was at x times, in parentheses, k plus m is equal to my. Remember, he's trying to solve for x. He's trying to get x isolated, trying to get x by itself. So he has to get rid of that parentheses. That parentheses is multiplying x, so what would he do with that parentheses since it's multiplying? What would he do?
You would divide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you look at the step 3, that is what it is. It is dividing. It's exactly the same thing as this. So is there a mistake in step 3? No. So the answer for this one is actually D. There's no mistake in this one, Brendan.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is none.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So whoever this was, Tim, he did the problem correctly. Brendan, I think I'm going to stop it here because this next section is practicing another skill. So I'm going to stop it here for today. And I guess I will see you when you come back from spring break. Thank you so much.